asked, what is the biggest threat for global environment? Think a second. Maybe the answer will be
climate change.
Climate change.
Climate change.
Climate change.
we have known about the problem for over half a century. Everybody is worried, but the problem seems to be getting worse day by day.
Climate is the statistics of weather over long periods of time. It is measured by assessing the patterns of variation in temperature, humidity, atmospheric pressure, wind, precipitation, atmospheric particle count, and other meteorological variables in a given region over long periods of time. Climate differs from weather, where weather only describes the short-term conditions of variables in a given region. A region's climate normally generated by climate system, which has 5 components: atmosphere, hydrosphere, cryosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere are those components. When the system of climate is changed by any factor, it is called climate change.
Climate change is not a new issue. It has a long history. But those changes were natural. What we are talking about is made by humanity. By knowing or unknowing, we have destroyed and created our paradise for our children.
The anthropogenic activity, the human being mostly responsible to climate change. Climate change can happen naturally, but that is slow process. It takes thousands of years. But due to the last industrial era, in the last 300 or 200 years, after the industrialization in Europe, there are lots of industrial activities, and basically the fossil fuel. For our energy consumption, we have a lot of demand on oil, gas, petroleum, these fossil fuels. Whenever we use these fossil fuels, they are releasing carbon dioxides. And all this carbon dioxide, think about in the last 200 years, lot of carbon dioxide released into the air. This carbon dioxide layer created like a furnace in the atmosphere. So there is a heat. The outgoing radiations of the world are getting trapped into the upper layer, and the temperature increased. In the last century, the temperature increased 0.5 degrees Celsius, and this century, the average temperature of the sea level could rise again 0.5 degrees Celsius. So if the average temperature increased 1 degree Celsius, it's a lot, because some of the places it could be more than 2 degrees, or some of the places it could be 1 degree. So it's a lot of temperature that already increased due to our dependency on the fossil fuel and our industrial activity and of our human activity all over the world, and due to supply of energy of more than 7 billion population of the world.
How will climate change affect us? There are many factors that will be affected by climate change, including rising sea levels, drought, and loss of agricultural land.
After 1942 to 1980, the amount of carbon dioxide was 0.2%, but now it is 0.4%. From Industrial Revolution, the amount of increased carbon dioxide is more than 225%. The density of carbon dioxide in air is more than 360 ppm. So temperature is rising. After 1906 to 2005, the average temperature of Earth is 0.74 degree, and that's why the region of tropical centers, tropical areas, the rainy season is very less, and the glaciers of North Pole started to melt. That's the main reason of sea level rising. At fourth assessment report of IPCC, we can see how dangerous the situation will be if it is not controlled. The coastal areas will be affected much due to coastal flood. 252 million of years ago, the vast majority of complex life was wiped out due to the increase of global temperature. Earth is headed towards a higher global average temperature. Someday in the near future, maybe the Homo sapiens, the inhabitant of the Homo sapiens, will be extinct, like the extinctions gradually of the animals and humans going on these days.
Changes in the climate will change the weather pattern. Changes in weather will affect many crops grown around the world. Many wild species could become extinct. climate change will affect everyone, but some population will be at greater risk. Countries whose coastal regions have a large population, such as Bangladesh, China, or Egypt, may have to move whole population inland to avoid flooding.
Global warming is a global problem, global scale problem. You know that if the ice melts in the North Pole or the South Pole, and then the sea level will rise. The sea level will rise maybe few meters, and it will create problem to many countries. Seasonal pattern can change. It will have a lot of extreme events. There may be a lot of flooding. All over the world, we see that there is a lot of flooding. In this year, we have seen that there is a flooding in Bangladesh. Also that it could be have a drought, impact of drought, then there will be no like a rainfall, or the rainfall pattern changes. That will hamper the agricultural system. So these are the effects. You know that there will be flooding, there may be drought, there may be like cyclones. There are a lot of cyclones we can see this year in the American zone. We have seen that in this year, Cyclone Harvey, and a lot of cyclones that came.
Nearly 12 million of people live in poverty in the coastal regions of Bangladesh. The climate already poses a challenge to the lives and the livelihoods of these households. New projections published by the World Bank suggest climate change will pose an even more severe challenge over the next 3 decades we take.
Climate change is a major issue for us. If 1% of focus about climate change be true, Bangladesh will face a great crisis within 2050. River salinity and soil salinity will be increased, and that will cause crisis of food and drinking water. Also, waterborne disease will be spared. As we know, the northern part of Bangladesh is situated at high elevation, and because of climate change, this will turn into desert. In the southern part of Bangladesh, the world's biggest mangrove forest, that is Sundarban, is situated. And because of climate change, Sundarban is in danger. It influences the ecosystem of Sundarban, and we are losing many resources of food. And due to this, the southern part will be affected by many natural calamities. And because of climate change, ultimately, the 1/3 of land of Bangladesh will go underwater, and about 20 million people will be homeless. And that is the biggest threat of Bangladesh.
It is projected that the sea level can rise nearly 5 to 10 centimeters within this century. And if it rises, then what will happen to Bangladesh? It is not a high country. The average height of the country is like just 2 meters. So if the sea level rise, then there will be 30% of the land of the country, especially in the southern region, will go underwater. Then what will happen? It's very disastrous. A lot of people will lose their home. They may come to Bangladesh, Dhaka city, and there will be a lot of crowd and pressure. So this is a very populated country, and it created a huge problem of making the climate refugee of the country. This is the problem, you know.
The threats are being visible day by day in Bangladesh. Perhaps the most visible of all threats, cyclone destroyed lives and livelihoods with alarming regularity in coastal Bangladesh. Severe cyclones strike every 3 years on average. Rising sea levels, a direct result of climate change, will increase the land surface exposed to high levels of cyclonic inundation by more than 50%. Rising river salinity presents a less visible but equally damaging threat. River salinity increases health risk, causes scarcity of drinking water and water for irrigation, and reduces number of fish species.
The weather cycle of Bangladesh is changed. Duration of winter season, the yearly amount of rainfall is decreased. Our country's temperature is increasing day by day. For that the increase of temperature, we are facing many problems. The major problem is our natural disaster like cyclones, floods. The result of 2017, we have seen a terrible scene of flood in North Bengal.
Though Bangladesh is not much responsible for climate change, it will be one of the biggest victims of this crisis, and the poor people who even don't know the meaning of climate change will be the sufferer. On the other side, many of the responsible developed countries are denying the climate change.
The human race does not see global warming as a serious threat. Celebrate!
If we talk about climate change, world politics and economic development, then these three things are correlated with one another. A country's development goes well when that country's industrialization is going properly. But on the other hand, this industry produces lots of greenhouse gases, which is harmful for the world and the particular country also. We all know about this issue, but arguing with this issue is politics to save their own interest. But if we want, then we can build a sustainable development for that country and the world also.
Climate change does not respect national borders. No country, whether rich or poor, developed or developing, can escape the impact of climate change on its land, on its people. Nations like people are bound to each other on this earth, and the actions of one have consequences on the well-being of others. Whether we acknowledge it or not, we are interdependent. We have to find out the solutions for the crisis and apply thereby. But how can we confront with climate change?
We need to reduce our energy consumption. How can we reduce? Because our present energy consumption basically depends on the fossil fuel. They are oil, gas, petroleum, or other things. But all of these fossil fuel emit carbon dioxide. That is the problem. So in other case, if we can use the renewables, the clean energy, use the wind turbine, we can use the solar panel, we can use the biofuel. If we can use this, then they have no carbon dioxide or no pollution of the air. So there will be no problem, or there will be no temperature rise if we can use the renewables. So that is the best energy alternatives. So we can have a lot of tree plantation. So every human being of the world should plant tree. If we plant one tree per year, there will be 7.5 billion tree in the world, and there is a 7.5 billion population in the world. So we can save the planet by planting tree. So that is a good example. And other things that we can do is we can educate people, because without education we cannot save. So there is an education, there is a huge education we need. So if we can educate people in all over the world, and if we can make them aware, so I think that there will be a lot of consciousness and that a lot of activities, and this activity will save the world. I think so.
We have attended an awareness campaign which is powered by RC Greener Dhaka IUBAT campus. We have gone to the Scholars College at Tungi, which is situated in an industrial area outside of Dhaka and has a great threat of climate change. We have met the youngsters of the institution and have spent some time with them. At the time, we have tried to let them know about the crisis and discuss about what to do and what should not to do.
আচ্ছা, এই এতক্ষণ যে আলোচনা হলো, এই থেকে আমরা কি কি শিখলাম? জলবায়ু সম্পর্কে কি কি জানলাম?
জলবায়ু যদি পরিবর্তন হয় তাহলে তা আমাদের ব্যক্তিগত সমাজ জীবনে নানা ধরনের প্রভাব বিস্তার করতে পারে।
তাপমাত্রা বৃদ্ধি পাচ্ছে এবং সমুদ্রের উত্তর মেরুতে যেসব বরফ আছে, যেখানে 1943 সালে অনেক পরিমাণে বরফ ছিল, এখন বর্তমানে দেখা যাচ্ছে অনেক কমে গেছে।
আমাদের উচিত বেশি বেশি করে বৃক্ষরোপণ করা এবং এই গ্যাসগুলো থেকে কিভাবে আমাদের মুক্তি পাওয়া যায় ওরকম কিছু সিদ্ধান্ত নেওয়া।
আমরা প্রতিনিয়ত আমাদের কার্যক্রমের মাধ্যমে আসলে আমাদের পরিবেশ, আবহাওয়া এবং জলবায়ু পরিবর্তন করছি, এবং তার ফলশ্রুতিতে কিন্তু ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত আমরাই হচ্ছি। এই যে নদী ভাঙন থেকে শুরু করে জলাবদ্ধতা, সবকিছুর পেছনে এই ক্লাইমেট চেঞ্জ দায়ী। এটাকে নিয়ে আমরা যদি সবাই, বিশেষ করে ছাত্র সমাজ যদি ভূমিকা রাখতে পারি, সারা দেশে যদি যদি আমরা সকলকে সচেতন করতে পারি এবং এই সচেতনতার মাধ্যমে আমরা বিশ্বাস করি যে তুলনামূলকভাবে আমরা পৃথিবীটাকে আরো কম গরম করতে পারবো, যেটাকে আমরা গ্লোবাল ওয়ার্মিং বলছি, যে উষ্ণ করার কারণেই তো এই সমস্যাগুলো দাঁড়াচ্ছে। তাই এই ক্ষেত্রে সকলের সচেতনতাটা জরুরি এবং এই ধরনের একটা উদ্যোগ আইইউবিটি নেওয়ার কারণে আন্তরিকভাবে অভিনন্দন জানাচ্ছি স্কলার্স পরিবারের পক্ষ থেকে।
Climate change is not only a global issue of partisan debate, and solving this crisis is not only a question of politics. It's a threat to us, to our future generations. It's a question about our extinction. We have to be aware and work together to solve the problem, to save our future from the vulnerable crisis. We should take a promise right now.
I will do my part
to protect the earth.
And it's a need for our existence. The earth is our only home. It's our duty to keep the world livable for our next generations.
নবজাতকের প্রাণ